Good morning. I'm so delighted to be here for the first time in my almost 30-year ministry. Heard so much about this church, have admired it so deeply from afar. So I am grateful to be here today, grateful to Daniel for his invitation and for a chance to hang out, and grateful to you for embarking in this unknown, I think, marvelous journey of partnership. So the Unitarians in Northeast India are in a little way east state called Meghalaya in Northeast India, north of Bangladesh, a place that most people in India have not been to. I happened to be there a few years ago for their anniversary day. The Unitarians in Northeast India are in a region called the Khasi Hills. They are foothills for the Himalayas. And I was there for anniversary day, which has to be the most amazing and exuberant holiday in the Unitarian world. It's kind of like a mashup of Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, Flower Communion, and the Jewish High Holy Days. Anniversary Day celebrates the very first Unitarian service in Northeast India, held in 1887. As Daniel noted to me, the Khasi Hills Unitarian Church started around the same time your church did. Two seeds of our Unitarian faith growing up in very different parts of the world. An anniversary day isn't just one day, it's actually a month-long celebration. There's 3 weeks of preparation, and then the pace picks up the last week with a service every single evening, and then anniversary day arrives and there's a morning service. The one I went to, people went outside and at the end of the service raised a flaming chalice flag on their flagpole, went home with family and came back in the afternoon for another service. During the anniversary day celebration, every church is packed full of excited Unitarians of all ages. And let's see, there we go. So this is a photograph I took of a service. You can see it's very full. It's actually the Sunday before anniversary day. It's the day they choose to recognize kids who had perfect attendance in Sunday school, and this very excited boy is one such kid. Anniversary Day is the day that young adults and other folks who are elsewhere in India studying or working or even elsewhere in the world come home. It's home for the holidays for Unitarians means Anniversary Day. And then the most cherished part of the whole thing takes place on the evening of Anniversary Day. After the sun sets and dark sets in, each church has a torchlight parade through its surrounding neighborhood. In the villages and smaller cities, the Unitarians parade on foot with torches blazing as they sing Unitarian hymns. I'll show you here a short clip of one such church's torchlight parade from just this past month. So the torches are meant to evoke the flaming chalice, an even more important and omnipresent symbol in Northeast India Unitarianism. They display it on their houses, on their cars. During anniversary season, they put huge lit chalices on their churches. Like this one, you can see just to the left, there's a person, so it's bigger than a person. And they also decorate their houses with anniversary lights. Think Christmas with a chalice theme in terms of the lights on the houses. So I was lucky enough to be there. I was mostly for Anniversary Day in Shillong, the biggest city in Northeast India, in the Khasi Hills, and also the location of several Unitarian churches. These days, Shillong streets are pretty clogged 24/7, so it's not feasible or safe to have everybody walk in a parade. So instead, they have an anniversary car parade. So a flatbed truck was at the head of the parade. And what you can see there is a huge chalice that they have on the flatbed truck. And then they have a band of young adults with guitars and drums and huge speakers, and they do the Unitarian hymns as the parade goes on. So a bunch of other folks, other Unitarians, walk behind that, and then there were about 20 cars full of Unitarians. I was in one of the cars, and going through the streets, blaring this music. The band, the walkers, those in our cars with the windows rolled down, we just sang those hymns at the top of our lungs. Traffic became completely snarled. Hundreds of onlookers lined the streets looking. No one seemed to be irritated by this. The parade went on for 2 hours and went all of a half mile. So can you imagine a parade like this in Dallas? I like that you have things, yeah, right? I like that you have things on your signs on your lawn. That's a start. Imagine this. So I wish every Unitarian Universalist in the world could be in the Khasi Hills for Anniversary Day. And the vitality of the Khasi Unitarian Church, so evident in this torchlight parade, in every service I attended, was deeply moving. And I was especially struck by how every service had youth and young adults with speaking parts. The music in every church I went was led by youth and young adults playing guitars and drums and singing like the hymn we heard. Those are two church musicians from the big city. Everyone from the littlest kid to the oldest adult in the congregation just sings their lungs out to these hymns, and they have like 6 or 7 or more of them during the service. There is a love for the faith and a pride in it that, for me, is more palpable in the Khasi Hills than anywhere in the Unitarian world. And this remarkable vitality goes back to the founder of Khasi Unitarianism, a man named Hajam Kishore Singh. His dedication, vision, tireless energy gave birth to this unique and fresh incarnation of our Unitarian faith. 131 years later, the faith community he founded continues to reflect its founder. His spirit is infused in the DNA of Khasi Unitarianism, and he is truly one of the luminaries of our global Unitarian faith. So Hajam Kishore Singh was born in the Khasi Hills in 1865. He was raised in the indigenous animistic religion of the Khasi Hills. At the age of 15, he, like many of his peers, was converted by Protestant missionaries to Christianity. And then a very interesting thing happened. He started to read the Bible. He started to read the New Testament, and as he read it and reread it, he just thought, I don't think Jesus is some kind of divine human hybrid, but I think Jesus is just a fully human person. Jesus was just a great prophet, teacher, but not also God. Kishore Singh also came to believe that this idea that God selects some people to go to heaven and condemns other people to hell doesn't square with the idea of an all-loving God. Well, Kishore Singh tried to persuade some of the people in the church about his ideas and didn't get anywhere. So he left the church to start his own faith. And he assumed he was alone in these beliefs. Then he ran across some writings of William Ellery Channing. And he met a Unitarian missionary from the United States. And he figured out, hey, these ideas that were coming up for him were not totally different from anything else in the world, but were a lot like this Unitarianism. So he decided to call his new faith Unitarian. So the church he founded in 1887 at the age of 22 had 3 or 4 members besides himself. Kisor Singh's charisma and passion for sharing this UU faith slowly helped it catch fire in the Khasi Hills. Often on Sundays, he would lead delegations singing hymns from one village to the next village to a next village, walking 10 and 20 miles between villages singing. Before long, there were lots of churches and hundreds of Unitarians in Northeast India. To tie together this emerging and far-flung community in Northeast India, he created a worship book that had some of his writings and other Khasi Unitarian writings and hymns, and also writings from Channing and Emerson and the Buddha. The Khasi manifestation of our Unitarian faith is an utterly unique and beautiful combination of 19th century liberal Unitarian Christianity, monotheistic Hinduism, yes, there is such a thing, the nature-focused indigenous religion in the Khasi Hills, with a little bit of Buddhism sprinkled in. This faith grew out of Kisor Singh's life and out of the Khasi Hills, just as your unique manifestation of Unitarianism grew out of the soil of Dallas. The first statement of Khasi Unitarian beliefs, adopted after the church grew to 5 members, reflects this uniqueness. We believe in the unity of God, in the fatherhood and motherhood of God, in the brotherhood of man, in love, union, worship, and faith, and in immortality. Wow. Now, the masculine pronouns are not surprising for that time, but throwing in motherhood of God, it's a nod to the matrilineal culture of the Khasi Hills. Hajram Kisor Singh did not pay the ultimate price with his life for this Unitarian faith, like some of the other founders did in Transylvania, in the Philippines. But he courted lifelong rejection, especially by those in the majority Reformed Protestant church. A full-time government official, that was his day job, he managed in his free time to spark this movement that now has 10,000 people and 45 churches. So out of nothing came this amazing incarnation of Unitarianism. He was one of the most impactful, courageous, innovative creators of community in our Unitarian history. And the thriving Khasi Hills Unitarian Church is his lasting legacy. So for the last 36 years of his life, after he founded this church, he threw himself like seed into the fields and the hillsides and the villages of Northeast India. His life work was not this government work for which he was paid. His life work was pioneering this faith. Even as he faced ostracism and scorn, he kept moving. He kept nurturing the seed he planted, and as a result, this strong Unitarian tree grew in this unlikely soil. Kisor Singh's spirit is captured in a favorite saying of the Khasi Unitarians, and it's on my stole, tu nangroi. Roughly it means keep moving forward, keep progressing. Don't stop working for that which is good and true and life-giving. You can see tu nangroi inscribed on the church walls in the Khasi Hills, and it captures such an important characteristic of the founder of this faith, which is persistence. He always kept on going. I invite you this morning to think about your life work. What is the seed that you are trying to grow with your life and your work? Perhaps your life work is something you get paid for, or maybe like Hajram Kishore Singh, it's not. Maybe your life work is an idea. How is it with your life work today? How is the seed which you are nurturing? How is it today? My own life work is building bridges. This passion is central to me. It was central in my 25-year ministry in Wisconsin. It's what called me to the UU Partner Church Council. It infuses my volunteer work. And for me, this feels like a difficult and discouraging and heartbreaking time for the work of building bridges between people. A politics based in scorn and anger and division and exclusion has become dominant in our country. In other places Unitarians are, like Transylvania and Hungary, in India. Pipe bombs targeting people this week horrified us. Yesterday's attack on a synagogue in the Jewish community was terrible. A heartbreaking exclamation point to a difficult week. The politics of division may suffer a setback a week from Tuesday in this country, or maybe get advanced. My spirit is heavy. It is heavy with apprehension. I am tired. I am discouraged. Part of me wants to retreat and run away and go into my little shell, which is a privileged person I actually can do for a while anyway. When I feel like this, I turn for solace and for inspiration to people like Hajram Kishore Singh. He kept the faith, he kept the flame burning. He could not have possibly known that the seed he planted would be 10,000 people today. Whatever doubts and worries and despair he felt, and no doubt he felt them all, he kept on going. No matter how tired or sluggish or discouraged he felt, there was always another village ahead with a handful of Unitarians who needed to hear his good word. So on he went, walking and singing and sharing about this life-changing faith, this belief in one all-loving God. And so we American Unitarian Universalists could use Hajram Kishore Singh in our pantheon of inspirational spiritual ancestors, especially at moments like this. In your church's new mutual partnership with the orphanage, this Unitarian orphanage in the heart of the Khasi Hills, you will engage not just with the children and the staff of the orphanage, you will also engage with this Khasi Unitarian faith, which is so beautifully embodied in this orphanage. You will encounter the living legacy of Hajram Kishore Singh. And I have no doubt that your church, as wonderful and innovative and dedicated as you are, will make a big impact on the orphanage. And I have no doubt that the orphanage, those kids, and the Khasi Unitarian faith will make a big impact on you. To Nangroy, keep on moving, even when it's hard and you want to quit, even when you're feeling hopeless. Keep on trying to find the best ways you can to move forward. To Nangroy. Amen.